Hello. So I mentioned in one of my recent videos that Hamas had machine gunned cars as they'd gone past them on the main roads, and rescuers had come and found dogs still lying by their dead owners. And somebody left a comment under the video saying, "Why do you think that Hamas killed the people but left the dogs alive?" And my answer to that was professional courtesy. I'm Granniopteryx. So that was one message I got. The other message was from somebody I've been corresponding with for a while. And at first I didn't understand what he was asking. Now, what should I call him? Mike. Okay. So Mike said, it seems very odd that all these things are coming together, you know, the Ukraine business, and just when interest in the Ukraine business is tailing off, this thing blows up with Hamas doing some terrible things. So is it some sort of psyop? He used that. And I was quite surprised because I didn't think anyone could believe that, for instance, the Americans had engineered this in order to justify Ukraine. But it turned out I'd misunderstood what he was saying. He was just talking in general terms. I asked him and he wrote back. And this is my response to his response, because responding to him forced me to think more around that problem. So I'm very grateful for all your letters, provided they're literate and thoughtful, like Mike's letters are. So this is the letter I wrote. I came across a video made by Hamas showing some of their thugs breaking through a barrier into Israel. At least that's what we're told. It's difficult to know if that's actually what the video was of. It's certainly a Hamas video, but as I say here, I think it more likely that it's a training exercise. So a few people have said, including Joe Bro, that there are Russian speakers there. A few people, I've seen a few saying that they can hear instructions being shouted in Russian. I can't hear. I know what Russian sounds like, and I can't hear Russian. Mind you, there's so much noise and confusion there that it's possible. It's just I don't hear it. And I say this, I cannot identify Russian, and we know how we can be primed what to hear. I did refer to a video I'd made, ironically enough, about the very Oxford Street incident I spoke about in a recent video, where I told you about psychological tests where if you're told to hear something, you will hear it, even if something else was said. So people are saying it sounds like Russian, that is, that it's a Wagner group or somebody leading the charge into Israel. I doubt that. I really do. But I don't doubt that it could be a training exercise. I do not doubt for a minute that it's very possible that Russian operatives were training the Hamas people. Wagner, perhaps. We know that Wagner have been causing grief right round the world, and especially in Africa. So, as I tell Mike, this idea of the Russians leading Hamas into action, it's a suspicious but unproven situation. And I am more of the opinion that if it is Russian, they were filming a training exercise. But, I say in my letter, I do know that Iran and Russia are allies and that Iran is funding Hamas. So they are all joined together. Oh, before I carry on, I'll remind you I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds, also Twitter and Gab. Please like this video, please share it, please subscribe. If you're on YouTube, click the the notification button. All the links are in the description, including links to donation sites. Again, thank you for your donations, but thank you for liking this video as well. All right, I'll get back to my letter to Mike. For that reason, I agree with you that this is probably not a coincidence. My belief is that Iran were running a distraction for Russia. It's absolutely possible that Iran and Russia had reached an agreement that that Iran would do this or fund this or set Hamas off in order to take the heat off Russia, the international attention of Russia. That's possible. And the reason that Iran would be happy to do this would be, first of all, they want to scupper the peace accord that is gaining pace between Israel and Saudi. And this has put the whole thing on hold, so it's a win for Iran for a start. And then to force the West to divert its military aid from Ukraine. I think possibly Iran might have thought that because they were helping Ukraine, they wouldn't be able to help Israel. But I don't think, as I said, they obviously don't have a good grasp of Israel's arsenal or its capabilities. They may have been caught with their trousers down on this occasion, but they certainly still have quite a well-stocked larder when it comes to armaments. Again, they might wish to think, well, this was more or less at the same time as the Yom Kippur War. So, yep, that's a good commemoration as far as they're concerned. And then the best case scenario in their eyes would start a general attack on Israel. They're still trying to whip that up, aren't they? They're getting Hezbollah to drop rockets from the north. What they don't understand is that although Israel is usually quite careful about returning fire, on this occasion, I don't think they're going to think twice about it. So this is not going to do Hezbollah much good either. But I think what they were hoping was that this would start a really big Arab-Israeli war, and then there'd be all sorts of mayhem and the end of days, because these guys in Iran, believe it or not, are religious nutcases who think that the world has to go through Armageddon for the Muslim millennium to be established. Okay, so I say from their point of view, it was a win-win. Yeah, I mean, they, as far as they're concerned, it was a good thing to do. And then I say, I don't think they calculated on Hamas taking time out from going for military installations and distracting themselves with raping women and handcuffing and burning toddlers. So, you see, now the Iranian army is probably pretty well disciplined, and it's possibly the case that the Iranians assumed that these Hamas people were going to be disciplined as well, and they weren't. I say I have a theory that they were supposed to go for military establishments to reduce Israel's military capability, and instead they went for civilians, for babies, for party goers. I'm not sure that Iran had calculated on that. Anyway, it's certainly shown up the, I was going to say animalistic. It's a real insult to animals to call these Hamas people animals, because they're far worse than that. And I spend a lot of my time around animals. They're nothing like Hamas. We humans like to... the best I could say is that it's human. I think, well, primate anyway, we're the only type of animals on the planet who do this sort of thing. All the other ones I'm thinking of right now, they just kill for food. That's it. It wouldn't surprise me if it turned out that Russia had actually requested that Iran set its dogs loose, They have form on causing mayhem in less developed parts of the world, Africa having been a prime target of the Wagner Group for years. We don't concentrate on that, but I've been keeping an eye on it. Africa, there are many states in Africa now in the most awful trouble, and mostly because of rebellions backed by Wagner, by Russia using Wagner. However, as I say, Iran is quite capable of coming up with this idea on their own. So it needn't necessarily have been at the direct request of Putin. Although, as I say, that wouldn't surprise me. Okay, so I end up by saying that's how I analyse it. Of course, I'm not a military strategist, so I could be completely wrong. But then the Israeli military strategists didn't do that well either, did they? Yeah, I mean, the whole problem is basically that Netanyahu's government was in a terrible mess. I've already spoken about that because of their... because of the fairness of proportional representation. Nobody had a government there. It was mayhem. And the country was on the edge of civil war anyway, which is sort of ironic, because if Iran had just waited, Israel would have probably imploded by itself. As it is, now they've all come together. Sometimes I start to believe in God, you know. Right, okay, that is my comment on 2 letters I got in response to my last couple of videos. Till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.